Hello, I'm David Day with My Retirement Quest, helping you have a happy, healthy, and fulfilling retirement. And I want to introduce you to someone very special today. And this is actually the author of this brand new book that's just soon to be released called Our Environmental Handprints. And his name is Jon Biemer. So, Jon, welcome.
Hello.
And as you probably know, as a chiropractor, I love this topic that you have picked, and it's our environmental handprints, because I love, I use my hands all the time, and that's really cool. Now, why did you title it? Because we've all heard about the environmental footprints and things like that, right? But you picked the idea of a handprint. What is the difference between the footprint and the handprint in your mind?
Well, the footprint is the impact we have, basically the cost we impart on the planet for being here.
Okay.
And you can work at reducing that footprint, but you can never get quite to zero. As a matter of fact, if you live in this country, you've automatically got some footprint associated with just living in the country.
Okay.
So I got frustrated with that idea about 10 years ago. And I said, there's got to be a sort of proactive way of getting beyond the do less harm kind of thing.
Okay.
And I came up with the idea of the handprint, the idea that we can be creative about what we do to do things that are maybe more good than the cost we have that we impart on the planet.
Wow.
So that I came to independently, and turns out that a few other people did also. So it's not my invention, so to say, but it is my discovery.
Yeah, well, I'll never forget. I was the president of the Midway Business Association, and Jon is one of our members. And I'll never forget that talk that you gave to our group. It was just it was an amazing thing. The other thing is, you may be curious if you're watching this why I'm interviewing Jon, and you should probably understand that Jon actually, you worked for many years at Bonneville Power Administration, then you took an early retirement, essentially.
Right.
And one of the things that I've been impressed with you, Jon, is you are passionate about the environment. And I think was part of what the consideration for taking that early retirement was to be able to pursue kind of your passions and your purpose about ecological issues like that. Was that part of why you decided to take that early retirement?
Well, my becoming an environmentalist probably goes all the way back to before I started with Bonneville Power Administration.
Okay.
I was in aerospace, and I found out a lot of problems with nuclear power.
Okay.
And instead of, trying to be a flag-waving anti-nuclear something or other,
yes,
I decided to work on alternatives to nuclear power, which were solar energy, energy conservation. So that's what I made a career out of. And I worked in energy conservation with Bonneville Power for 23 years.
Wow. And also after you retired, then you also formed your own business, and we got to know each other in that context, because I actually hired you as a consultant for my practice. And it is interesting, Jon, when you think about our interactions, it wasn't necessarily in the context of the environment, but our conversations about my practice led me to make some choices. Like, I remember when I decided to upgrade my x-ray machine to go to a digital x-ray machine versus the conventional x-ray machine that was working just fine. But the problem was all those chemicals that you run those x-ray films through to be developed ended up dumping down into the drain of the water system. And it's like, you know what? If I were to actually buy a digital x-ray system, all of that toxic dumping into the water system would be eliminated. And and buying LED lights and all these things is kind of fun that, here as a chiropractor in my office, the challenge to think about what little things can I do that will help improve and reduce my waste and those sorts of things. I think so. If you guys are interested, I hope you'll buy this book. It's and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link to it below, and that'll be an Amazon link. You can buy it. It's published by Rowman and Littlefield, and it's recover the land, reverse global warming, and reclaim the future. And Jon, I think knowing you like I do, I mean, you really are a practical man, right? This is not just a theoretical thing. So this is not a conversation about the environmental globe, but this is, you are challenging each one of us, right, to consider the impact of our hands and what we have on the environment, right? Is that correct in
Right.
assuming that?
There's very little theory and a lot of examples of what has already been done, and basically showing people that this isn't just a nice idea. It can be done. Basically, what we want to do is scale this kind of stuff to large scale so that we can, make global impact on some of the things. And I cover the ground. Global warming is important, but I cover the ground with recovering rivers and education and a number of other things that are all related to the environment.
Yeah, and just as I've watched you, Jon, over the years, I mean, you are not. I love the fact that you actually walk the walk. You don't just preach. You actually are showing us how. In fact, you and your wife have done some very intentional things in how you live your life. I mean, you guys created a eco-friendly house. You did several things to your home. You have decided to live without a refrigerator, right? So that's and I think we might do another interview later where we actually look at what you have done with your little plot of paradise, essentially, and what you've done in your garden area to live this. You have chosen not to have a car. You use mass transit. So you're not just the theoretical talking about all this. You actually live what you believe, and I really appreciate that, Jon.
I'd like to pause a moment there,
sure,
because while I love living without a refrigerator and living without a car, during COVID-19, we found we needed to go back to the refrigerator after 18 years, and the car after 13 years, because my wife needed to get across town. And so that's another part of being realistic.
Yes.
If you're religious about something, sometimes you kind of miss the practical elements of things. And we couldn't ignore this whole pandemic thing.
No.
So on the other hand, I can give you whole essays on getting along without a car and getting along without a refrigerator.
Absolutely, yes. And I mean, I love that, Jon. I mean, and you're very real about, but you're real about your commitment. And this is something that you are having to do for some other reasons, right? But it's still something you're going to be very conscious, and you won't drive your car places that you don't need to. You'll plan your trips. You will do things. And all of us, I was challenged to think about the temptation in my life is to just, I'll go do that and then come back and then go there and do that. Whereas if we think and plan our day saying, how can we be most efficient? If we're going to drive our car, let's drive it in the most efficient route, right? Let's think about, let's not be just kind of lackadaisical about the use of our resources. Let's actually be intentional about them. And so I really do love that. Can I
throw in a thought there? Putting more people in your car is helpful to help other people not drive their cars. So carpooling and even this Uber kind of thing where you have people that share their cars. The economics have a whole lot of, they get a lot of attention, but just keeping cars off the road and making less cars has a very positive environmental impact.
Now, in your book, is there something that people who do you think would be the ideal person to purchase your book and read it? Who are you trying to target?
Well, I've been asked this question quite a few times. The person that's most likely to read it is an environmentalist, because people read what they like already, right?
Yeah.
The person that I'd like to reach is the person who doesn't think much about this stuff, or who has basically, let's say, friendly values to the environment. We like trees, and we're aware of global warming and that kind of thing, but really can't figure out how to do much about it, given the realities of their life, the priorities of their life. We all have a job, we have a family, we have kids. These are things that we're not just going to put aside because we've got this highfalutin value.
Right.
So what I'm trying to do is offer things in the book that you can fit within your life, within your practice, if you will.
Yes.
So you don't have to jump off a cliff. You just have to kind of help be part of the solution.
Wow. I love that. I love that. You know, because that even someone like me, I could, because I probably wouldn't consider myself to be an environmentalist, but I do live with the concept of being a good steward of the earth and wanting to take care of it and not see destruction or abuse or those sorts of things. So to have something like this that I can actually read, and I can't wait to get it, John. I've pre-ordered on Amazon already, so I'm very excited about this book, and it has been such a joy getting to work with you and to know you and to see you, and I can't wait to see the ways that I'll be challenged as I read the book.
Let me just interject here. There's like 178 different handprint opportunities in the book, but I don't want people to get overwhelmed by the idea you have to do 178 things. I'm asking people to do 5.
Oh, nice. The fingers. Okay.
Pick 5.
Yes.
One for each finger, handprint.
Yes.
And write them down on a piece of paper and just call that an intention, if you will. They probably things you've already been thinking about. And tell a friend about it, because when you talk about it a little bit, it makes it more real.
Yes.
And then just check back in 6 months and see how you're doing.
Yes.
And if you do that, you are on the path of changing how you live and how you contribute. This isn't one of these things where you go do something and it's done and it's over with. The environmental problems we have will be here for generations. So we need to do our part, is my basic point.
I love it. Yes. And for those of you watching this, I mean, if you have a friend, you want to share this, go ahead and share it, because if they can meet Jon and understand this and see his heart and then read his book and those sorts of things, then we can help get the word out. And I really do so much appreciate you taking your time, Jon, to join us today. And like I said, I think we're probably going to do a follow-up video with you later, maybe showing you and your wife Willow, if she wants to share this, what you guys have done at your home and things like that, because I think that's just going to be also fascinating. But Jon, thank you for writing this amazing book, and our Environmental Handprints, Recover the Land, Reverse Global Warming, and Reclaim the Future by Jon Biemer. And I'll put a link to that in the comments below. If you want to share anything, I can get any message that you send to me back to Jon too, because I do know him personally. So Jon, thank you so much for being with us. And I'm just looking forward to working with you in the future as well. And it's just been a joy to watch and see your development in this field as you've written this book. And I can't wait to read your next book too. So thank you so much, Jon. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Thank you.